Okay, now I'm going to finish off with the Minnesota Twins. And Minnesota fans, I don't want to make you upset, but I would be shocked if you're a competitive team. Um, I think you'll improve with some of the young players you have. I like some of the players that you have. I think you're a couple of years away. I don't know exactly how far, but with this division, that's the only thing is I think you're going to get beat down just because of the division. But it depends how well they compete with the changes that you have. With Paul Mahler as manager, we'll see how that works. Um, it's going to be way different with Tom Kelly not there anymore. But Minnesota is a good organization. They've been in a small market. I think they've been competitive. The problem is they were competitive for so long. I think it's going to take a while because they are in rebuilding mode. But I don't think they're way far away. One thing I will say is, as good as Joe Mauer has been, I just don't think they can keep holding that contract. Yeah, in a small market, I just don't think you can pay one player that much if he's not producing at a high level. And with him moving from catcher to first base, he's not putting up very good first baseman numbers. I know that the Twins love him and he's from there, but I just think there's a point where once you get to a certain age, I just don't think you can keep him. I don't know how long his contract runs. But one thing is, I would try to move Joe Mauer. I don't think Twins fans want to hear that, but I think that's one thing. He's okay if he was catching. I mean, it'd be great if he was catching. I still like that he can hit and make contact, but when you can't hit home runs, then he's got to start driving in more runs. Of course, with Minnesota's offense, it's part of the problem. So I won't blame it all on him. I just don't think that they can afford to be paying him that much money. If you're rebuilding, you can't have a high-priced player when you're just losing games. I like Joe Mauer, don't get me wrong, but I just think for Minnesota, I think when you're in rebuilding mode, I think you got to get rid of your high-priced guys. Kurt Suzuki, I think is okay catcher. I have no problem with him. So when we talked about Mauer, I really like their second baseman. I think Brian Dozier is going to be a terrific player. I think he can do steal bases, hit home runs. I mean, I think he's the kind of player that they can build around, and I think he can be a perennial all-star, especially at second base. He's just got to keep getting better. I think he will. I think you've got a great player there. At third base, if Trevor Plouffe can just keep improving a little bit, I think he's a decent third baseman. I think you can be fine with him. Danny Santana at shortstop. I don't know a lot about Santana, so I really don't know how well he's going to play at shortstop. I think if they just get adequate defensively and if he can hit just enough, I think they'll be happy. I just don't know enough about them. In the outfield, they got young guys, but they're supposed to be good. I know that Aaron Hicks will probably play center field. We'll see. I think you're just going to have ups and downs with him, but we'll see. He's supposed to be a pretty good player. I know they got a couple guys in the minors that are supposed to come up and be really good, so I don't know if he's in their plans or not. But he's going to have to improve. Kenny's Vargas at DH and first base. I think he'll spell Mauer some. He's got to hit home runs. He's a big, huge guy, but we got to see him hit. And one thing I will say about Minnesota is when I look at him, he makes me think of David Ortiz, because for you Minnesota fans, you know that Ortiz played there. He played part-time, then Minnesota cut him. So I don't know if he's in that mode either. I just know he's a big guy, and I know you expect him to hit home runs. Now, will he? I don't know. But he's going to have to improve for the Twins to get better. And he may. I don't think he's that old. So, then they added Torrey Hunter. Torrey Hunter's going to give you solid numbers. He's been there before. But he's just getting up there in age. But I still think Torrey Hunter's an upgrade from what they had. And it'll give them some veteran leadership and teach these guys how to play baseball. And I think that'll help. Their starting pitching, I really like Philip Hughes. Adding Irvin Santana, who pitched for the Royals, went to Atlanta. He's a solid number 2 guy. He'll give you innings. He'll give you enough starts. He'll help that rotation. Now, Kyle Gibson, if he keeps improving, Ricky Nolasco's got to show something, and Mike Pelfrey will probably be the fifth starter. I'm not sure exactly who they'll have there. But the Twins, I think you're just trying to learn how to play at the major league level. And I think if you can get close to 500, that'd be it. But really, I think if you can get out of last place, that's what your goal is. And I hate to say that, but as a Kansas City Royals fan, that's pretty much what we were doing every year. And you know how bad we've been, or how bad the Royals have been. And I hope you don't have to sit there and have a long period like we did, which I don't think you will, because your organization, I think, once you get, they'll build young and they'll build right. And I just think you're still a couple years away. Glenn Perkins is a decent closer. I think you have some okay bullpen people. It just depends how much they improve. But like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the Twins because I just don't think they'll be competing in this division. Hopefully I'm wrong, and for Minnesota fans, they play well. But with the talent that's in this division, I just think there's one team that'll get beat down, and I think that's the Minnesota Twins. So that's what I've got for the American League Western Division.